Everyone is focusing on the fact that Shedeur Sanders is about to walk onto an NFL field as a starting quarterback for the first time. But there's something bigger happening here. Something that has nothing to do with touchdowns, play calling, or pre-game predictions. This moment is about a father watching his son step into the spotlight he once owned. It's about how a legendary competitor like Deion Sanders handles a situation where the stakes aren't measured on a scoreboard, but in what it means to truly show up for family. And what makes this story so powerful isn't just the football part. It's the emotional weight behind Deion's decision. Does he attend and risk becoming the center of the media circus, or does he stay away, knowing his absence could hurt more than his presence ever would? This isn't just another NFL storyline. It's a crossroad where legacy meets love, and where one choice says everything about what it really means to be a father under the brightest lights imaginable. To understand why this moment hits so hard, you have to look at the two men at the center of it. On one side is Shedeur Sanders, a rookie quarterback stepping into one of the most demanding roles in professional sports. He isn't just joining the NFL, he's walking into his first official start with an entire league waiting to see if he can live up to the hype, silence the doubt, and take control of a franchise that desperately needs stability. This isn't a backup appearance. This isn't filling in for a quarter or two. This is the day his NFL career truly begins, with a week of preparation, a full playbook designed for him, and the weight of expectation pressing down from every direction. And then there's the man who built the legacy Shedeur is now measured against, Deion Sanders, a Hall of Famer, a two-sport phenomenon, a cultural icon, a coach, a father. Deion knows exactly what it takes to shine on that stage because he lived it. And for years, he has been preparing his son for this exact moment. It's more than training and film sessions. It's a lifetime of conversations, life lessons, challenges, and expectations passed from one generation to the next. That's what makes this so much bigger than a football game. This isn't just an athlete chasing his dream, it's the next chapter of a family story that has been unfolding long before any cameras showed up. One man stepping into the league for the first time, another trying to figure out how to support him without overshadowing the moment. It's legacy versus opportunity, pressure versus potential, and the beginning of a journey that will define both of them in ways that go far beyond the final score on Sunday. This is where the story stops being simple. Because when Deion Sanders was asked if he was going to be there for his son's first NFL start, he didn't respond with a proud, "Of course." He didn't give a clear yes or even a clear no. Instead, he revealed something deeper. Something every parent can understand, but very few have to say out loud. He admits he's torn. He wants to show up for Shedeur the same way Shedeur has shown up for him, but he's also worried about one thing that shouldn't even exist in the first place: becoming a distraction. Think about that. A father is questioning whether being present for his son's biggest professional moment might somehow hurt him. That's not about football anymore. That's about public pressure, expectations, and a media environment where even quiet support turns into headlines. And this isn't coming from a man who inserts himself into every conversation or demands attention. Deion hasn't been stirring up controversy or chasing the spotlight. All season he has stayed out of the way, stayed respectful, and allowed his son to write his own story. But the spotlight follows him whether he wants it or not. It's the price he pays for being one of the most recognizable figures in sports. His presence is never just presence. Cameras follow him, commentators talk about him, social media breaks down every facial expression and body language cue. So now he's stuck in this almost impossible position. Go to the game and risk becoming the story, or stay home and let people create a different story about his absence? It's a choice most parents never have to think about, but it's one he can't escape. And that's the dilemma: supporting your child in the most important moment of their life, while knowing the world might twist your intentions into something completely different. Shedeur isn't just stepping into a football game. He's stepping into one of the most unforgiving situations any rookie quarterback can face. A first NFL start is already a pressure cooker, but he's dealing with more than the usual nerves. He's walking into a team that has been searching for answers on offense, a locker room that needs leadership fast, and a fan base that wants a spark. The NFL isn't gentle with young quarterbacks, and there's no easing into this moment. Every snap, every read, every decision he makes will be dissected by analysts, fans, and critics who have been waiting to see whether he'll rise or fold when the lights are at their brightest. And that's just the football part of it, because for Shedeur, the challenge goes way beyond X's and O's. He's also carrying a last name that has been part of the sports conversation since before he could throw a ball. He's been compared to his father for years, not because he asked for it, but because it comes with the territory. Every success is expected. Every mistake is magnified. Every move he makes becomes a headline. A normal rookie can fly under the radar, make errors, and develop quietly. Shedeur doesn't get that luxury. He's expected to lead immediately, to prove he belongs, and to perform in a situation where people aren't just judging the quarterback, they're judging the legacy he represents. So he's balancing two battles at once: the physical battle on the field against NFL defenses that are faster and smarter than anything he's ever seen, and the mental battle off the field against public expectations and constant attention. That's what makes this debut different. It's not just about playing well. It's about shouldering the weight of a story that started long before kickoff. And it's about proving that he's not here to be the next Deion Sanders. He's here to be the first Shedeur Sanders. What makes this moment so powerful isn't just the pressure of an NFL debut. It's the emotional weight behind it. Because this isn't just a son entering the league. It's a son stepping onto the same stage where his father became a legend. For years, Deion has been preparing Shedeur not just as a quarterback, but as a man. The film study, the preparation, the mindset, the discipline, those weren't just lessons about football. They were lessons about how to survive in a world that rarely gives second chances and never forgets a last name. Now Shedeur isn't just chasing his dream. He's continuing a legacy that millions of people have been watching unfold since he was a teenager. And here's the part that cuts deeper. This isn't a family running from expectations. They embrace them. Deion has always been unapologetically confident, but underneath the flash and the personality is something more vulnerable: love. The kind that doesn't get shown in highlight reels or post-game quotes. The kind that makes a father worry about being too present or not present enough. That's why his decision matters so much. It isn't about media. It isn't about the cameras. It's about a father trying to figure out the best way to support his son without stealing his moment. Shedeur isn't just starting a football game. He's stepping into the next chapter of a family story that has been built on belief, sacrifice, and the courage to take on challenges that most people can't imagine. And Deion's heart is caught right in the middle, wanting to stand beside his son the same way his son has stood beside him, but also knowing his presence carries a weight no other parent in the stadium has to think about. This isn't just legacy. It's the kind of vulnerable, unspoken love between a father and son that you can feel even if you've never watched a single NFL game in your life. Here's where everything gets twisted. Because in a normal world, a father showing up to support his son on the biggest day of his career should be a beautiful moment. But in this situation, the media has turned it into something controversial. Every move Deion makes gets analyzed. Every gesture becomes a headline. Even the possibility of him being in the stadium gets treated like breaking news. And that isn't because he's done anything wrong. It's because his presence attracts attention, cameras, and speculation. The spotlight follows him even when he tries to stay out of the frame. What's strange is how different this looks when you compare it to other famous families around the league. We've seen parents, siblings, and spouses shown on broadcasts for years. We've seen the cameras cut to them during touchdowns, clutch plays, and emotional moments. And nobody questions whether they should be there. Nobody suggests they're stealing attention or creating drama. But when it's Deion Sanders, suddenly it becomes a debate. Suddenly, it's a distraction. Suddenly, it's too much. And that's where the double standard shows up. People expect him to shrink himself so others feel comfortable. But Deion has never been the type to shrink, and that's part of why his story has always drawn so much attention. Even now, he's trying to make the right choice while the media folds and twists the situation into something deeper than it needs to be. The fact that his attendance, or his absence, has become a national conversation says everything about how much pressure this family faces. It's not just a game anymore. It's a storyline that gets stretched and repackaged no matter what they do. And no matter which decision Deion makes, there will be people ready to question it, criticize it, and turn it into something other than what it really is: a father wanting to support his son. There are a lot of directions this moment could go, and that's exactly why everyone is paying attention. In the best-case scenario, Deion walks into that stadium, stays quiet in the background, and simply watches his son play. There's no drama, no controversy. Just a father supporting his child and a young quarterback stepping into his future. Shedeur plays with confidence, the offense finds a rhythm, and this becomes one of those feel-good stories that fans talk about for years. It becomes a moment about legacy, growth, and a family standing together under the brightest lights. But the other possibility is the one Deion is worried about. His presence could become the conversation instead of Shedeur's performance. Cameras will find him instantly. Social media will dissect every reaction. Broadcasters will mention him every other drive. Even if he sits quietly in a corner of the stadium, the narrative could shift away from the player on the field and toward the man in the stands. And that's the part that stings. If he shows up and the focus is taken off Shedeur, it could overshadow the very moment he wants to protect. And then there's the third option. Deion doesn't go at all. He watches from home or from Colorado, and the media turns that into a different storyline. People start asking questions. They speculate. They read into the decision as if it means something bigger than it does. Suddenly, his absence becomes just as loud as his presence would have been. That's the reality here. No matter which choice he makes, someone is going to twist it, debate it, or judge it. But here's the truth. The moment still matters. Whether Deion is sitting in a suite or watching from miles away, the emotional core doesn't change. This is the beginning of Shedeur writing his own chapter. He's not just walking into a game, he's walking into his career. The outcome isn't just measured in wins or stats, it's measured in growth, resilience, and the confidence that comes from knowing the people who believe in you the most are in your corner. That's why this is bigger than
football. No matter how it unfolds, this moment is already meaningful, and it's just the start of a story that's going to unfold far beyond this first start. At its core, this moment reminds us that even the biggest names in sports are still human. Strip away the cameras, the interviews, and the headlines, and what you have is a father trying to figure out how to show up for his child. Deion Sanders may be a Hall of Fame athlete and one of the most iconic figures the NFL has ever seen. But right now, he's wrestling with a decision that every parent can relate to. How do you support your child in a way that helps, not hurts? The difference is that most parents get to do that in private. Deion has to do it with an entire world watching and judging. It's a reminder of how easily the public forgets the humanity behind the fame. We love the storylines, the debates, and the hot takes. We love the controversy. But sometimes we forget there are actual people living these stories. People who care, people who worry, people who feel the weight of their choices. And when that spotlight shines bright enough, even something as simple as sitting in the stands becomes a calculated decision. That's why this story is bigger than football. It speaks to the pressures that come with being visible, with trying to do the right thing when everyone has an opinion about it. It shows how identity, legacy, and love collide when the world is watching. And whether Deion shows up in Las Vegas or stays away, his decision will tell us something about what it means to be a father, a public figure, and a human being navigating a moment that should be simple, but isn't. Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about a quarterback getting his first start. It's about the kind of love that pushes people to show up, the kind of pressure that forces them to think twice, and the kind of bond that survives long after the game is over. It's a reminder that even under the brightest lights, the most important stories aren't written on the field. They're written in the choices we make for the people we care about. When the game kicks off, all the noise, all the speculation, and all the pressure will fade for a few moments. It will just be a young quarterback taking the field and chasing the dream he's been preparing for his entire life. Whether Deion is there in person or watching from somewhere else, the truth is that this moment belongs to Shedeur. He's the one who has to stand in the pocket, read the defense, and prove he belongs. And he will do it with years of guidance, belief, and family behind him, whether the cameras show it or not. But the real lesson here is about something much deeper than football. It's about how we treat the people we watch from the outside. It's about how easily we turn human decisions into narratives, and how quick we are to judge moments that don't belong to us. Deion's situation forces us to ask a simple question. Are we rooting for the story, or are we rooting for the people living it? Because there's a massive difference. So as we watch Shedeur take that first snap, maybe the focus shouldn't be on where his father is sitting, or whether his presence sparks debate. Maybe the focus should be on the courage it takes to walk into a moment like this, the love that pushes people to show up even when the world is watching, and the humanity behind these larger-than-life names. Football will determine the winner and loser on the field, but this moment, the complicated, emotional, powerful moment between a father and son, reminds us what's actually worth celebrating. Because long after the clock hits zero and the stats fade away, the story that truly stays with us is the one about family, support, and the sacrifice it takes to stand beside the people you love, even when the whole world wants to turn it into something else.
Now it's your turn. This isn't just a football storyline. It's a conversation about family, pressure, expectations, and what it means to show up when the world is watching. So I want to hear from you. If you were in Deion Sanders' shoes, what would you do? Would you be in the stands for your son's first NFL start no matter what the media says? Or would you stay away to protect him from the spotlight? Drop your answer in the comments and let's talk about it. And if you want more stories that go deeper than the headlines and break down the moments that really matter in sports, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe, because this is just the beginning of the Sanders story, and there's a lot more coming.